3/4 is next month, right?
That is, yeah, if you would just make an
Yep, I
announcement.
will. When we're live.
You are live, your mics are now on.
Welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Bethlehem Planning Commission. My name is Rob Malassi. I'm the chair of the meeting. Other members include on my immediate left, Mr. Matt Malozzi, Ms. Joy Cohen, and Mr. Rick Pongrantz. We ask anyone here in attendance to silence your cell phones at this time. We have a pretty full agenda. We will proceed through the agenda items as listed. Each applicant will have a chance to present their project to the commission, and city staff will provide an overview along with city comments and a recommendation. Planning Commission members will have an opportunity to direct questions relating to the project to both the applicant and city staff. Following that discussion, interested parties in attendance will have an opportunity to ask questions. We ask anyone in attendance, we have sign-in sheets here. Give your name and address for the record. And we ask that you adhere to a 5-minute time limit. Please avoid repeating previously made assertions or questions. After all interested parties have had an opportunity to speak, Planning Commission members will have a final opportunity to deliberate on the project. Review of the Planning Commission is based on provisions of the SALNO, zoning ordinance, and other municipal ordinances. Decisions will be based on these applicable ordinances, the recommendation of the city professional staff, pertinent public comment, and the public good. Our first agenda item tonight is the approval of the October 9th, 2025 minutes. Any discussion of the minutes as written?
Yes.
Ms. Cohen?
In item 3, I'm sorry. It's actually item 4, sketch plan for Wyandotte Street. Cathedral Church of the Nativity, the last sentence or last paragraph, Mr. Malozzi asked if a sidewalk waiver would be submitted. It should say, instead of waiver, it should say deferral.
Last paragraph, Mr. Pfeiffer, on the agenda item number
It's 4,
4.
and then
It's on the last
discussion
page.
items would be.
If we
agenda
can make that change.
Noted, thank you.
Any other discussion? I'll accept the motion at this time.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the October 9th Planning Commission meeting.
Motion made, Ms. Cohen, with the adjustment as noted. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second, Mr. Pongrantz. Roll, please.
Mr. Pongrantz,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Malozzi,
Yes.
Mr. Malosky.
Yes, minutes approved. Next agenda item is a sketch plan review. 740 William Street. Will the applicant introduce yourself? And when you're ready, you may begin.
Just real quick, our engineer will be here. He texted me 3 minutes ago, said be here in 5.
No worries.
So we can go ahead and start without.
Absolutely.
Let him jump in. So I'd like to introduce Barbara Dice. She is the owner of the property and she is the applicant. My name is John Lee, Lee Architectural Associates, and the engineer, I'm the architect on the project, and the engineer is Brian Spray, who will be wandering in the door very shortly. He drove all the way up from, I don't know where he's from, Lansdowne or something. So he's a ways away. What I'd like to do is distribute some piece of paper here to make sure that we're all on the same page. What Barbara is sending around, giving you is a copy of the site plan, the proposed site plan, a copy of the steep slope sheet. That's the colored sheet there. And then a copy of our proposed floor plans. Oh, here he is right there. Told you he'd be wandering in soon. So what I'd like to do is really first open it up to you, talk about our proposal, and then we'll go into everything here. So I'll give him this.
Excellent.
So we'll let you take your seats here.
Good evening. So it's introduced the site. You know where we're located. Let me just give you a quick overview. If you turn to this very colorful page here, this is a steep slopes map of the site in question. Reds being the steepest, yellows being still steep, but not incredibly steep, and green being, fairly moderate, 15%. So the key for this site here is that developing it with anything more central to the site is that you're coming off the road. So say a driveway. You're coming off the road, you have to have a driveway that can work with a fire truck. A fire truck has a maximum change in grade of 7%. So if this has a 2%, a road has a 2% cross slope, which is normal, you have to subtract that from 7. So you have a maximum driveway of 5%. You got to do that for about 30 feet. And then you've got another change. And then the maximum driveway is 10% on top of that. So when you're coming in on driveway, existing grade, that's 20%. By the time you just get in just a little bit, you're several feet underground. And then trying to go up with a hill, even zigzagging up the hill, it takes forever to get to the top. And so what ends up happening is you end up hogging out half the site just to get a single family home in a normal place. Now, this site by itself is zoned that way. It's zoned for single family home as most of them are. But given the steep slopes, given the environmental overlay, if you will, we don't feel that would meet the spirit of the ordinance to remove half the hill and pull it out. So we looked around at the surrounding zonings and tried to look for a use that would work best. And in a site that's this steep, keeping something as close to the road as possible, something that you can build narrow, that people will want to live in, and that doesn't require, let me give you an example, a townhome. You're going to need, you can't just have a driveway out front. You have to have a parking lot. There's no room for a parking lot on this site. You don't have a 60-foot flat width anywhere. So we went through a number of different iterations trying to figure out the best use. And in this case, we came up with twins. Twins, you can put them up close to the road. You can build them, each building individually, and that works. Now, in this district, in the RR district, you can't have twins, but we are immediately adjacent to the RT district. See, do you have a copy of the zoning map? Here, I have a handout so that you guys can see. I drew in red the site, this property. This is just a screenshot from the website that I actually took today.
Thank you.
And the light tan is the RR district. The brown is the RT district. And so we share a property line with the RT district, and it's not immediately across the street, but it's right there. What we're hoping to do, and we want to start the process for, is just adjusting this line to surround the site as well. It has the least impact on the hillside, the least impact on the trees. There's going to need to be some relief because we still need retaining walls that are fairly high. But it allows the best use of the property with the least impact to the environmental features.
So just to anyone listening online or is in attendance, I just want to make sure everyone knows that Mr. Spray and the applicant, they are here today for a sketch plan review. This is something that our group really prefers because it gives us an opportunity to provide feedback and allow the city staff to provide feedback so that when you do come back for final approval, obviously we kind of help that go along and it ends up being a very smooth kind of process. So from a standpoint tonight, that's really kind of all we're trying to do is provide it, and we're going to let you go on. But the one thing I'll say is the zoning relief is obviously, everyone knows that's going to have to be done in front of the zoning hearing board, and you can get a little bit more detail on what it is you're looking for in terms of zoning relief.
So, from a zoning relief standpoint, there is one item that I believe we're going to have to go to regardless, and that is with the steep slopes ordinance. Now, we're not creating any new lots here. However, in working with other projects, if you have a parcel that doesn't comply, they've requested us go before the zoning hearing before. And basically, if you're disturbing steep slopes of a certain amount, your minimum lot size expands. Well, the lot is the lot. We're not creating any lots, so we may have to go for relief for that. But again, the lot exists. It's already there. What we're looking to do is go through the process to redraw the zoning line around that at this property. Once that happens, then we'd be in front of you for waivers for the height of a retaining wall. There are some items like that in the review, but then the use would be permitted. The yards would match. There are some questions about, road improvements and that sort of thing, which we'd normally go through in land development anyway. But the idea is because of the type of use, the rezoning, I believe, is the better option, especially since the district's right there. We're not asking for anything special. We share a boundary line with it. So you're absolutely right. We're here just for an opinion, a shot out of the bow, because as we go through the process, as one of the steps, we'll be in front of this board to discuss that anyway.
Take us through, give us, and maybe Mr. Lee might be the person to address this, the structure, the twins, the layout, the dynamics of that. Kind of walk us through.
Yeah, the last page of the packet that we just handed out there is the proposed floor plans of the house. It would be a basement area, which would include a quasi entry area along with a garage that is on the lowest level. The main level of the house contains the living room, one bedroom, a master down, so to speak. That level would also be able to exit directly to grade in the rear. Obviously, there's going to be some playing around with the exact elevation difference between the basement and the first floor to make sure that we've got something there that works and we can have a backyard that is usable. It will entail some retaining walls in the back to create a little bit larger backyard for everybody. And then, of course, beyond that is the beautiful woods that we want to try and keep as much as we can and not have all these switchback roads and all the stuff that Brian was talking about. As you see with both the site plan and then my building plans, the twin units are oriented long ways along the road to try and take advantage of, maximum views out the back. Also take advantage of narrowing the building footprint to interrupt less of the steep slope. Turning it the other way, we're going back further and further and further into the hillside, which we don't want to do. So what we've been able to develop here is some pretty nice, I think they are 3-bedroom units. They're in the ordinances following the 2.5-story requirement. And you can see the third floor, how we've got a series of dormers and things creating a lot of interest. We're trying to create a decent looking building without, so to speak, blowing the budget.
Do you have any renderings or elevations of the?
Not at
building
this
itself?
time, no. No, we want to make sure that we're clear on this before we subject Barbara to additional costs to create all of these things that obviously we would want to when we go to the next step, which would be variance hearings and things that we know that there's, at least our planning commission is looking favorably towards the project, and we feel that we're safe to take the next step. Then we feel like, yes, then we'll create the renderings, et cetera, to be able to show the board that we're not building junk here. We're building a nice place. We want to try and work with the environment that's around out there. And dare say we're looking to upgrade what's in the neighborhood right now, actually. So that in essence is as far as the building construction is concerned. Is there any questions about that? Now, obviously we're dealing with a slope, so there's structural issues with the foundation system. We poured concrete, will probably be a thicker concrete wall in the rear, especially along with buttressing walls in between that will give us the strength that we need to prevent any sort of situation with building in such an environment. But that's all part of the building permit and the structural design of the entire system. So any questions on your end as far as the building is concerned itself?
Any questions from the planning commission at this time for Mr. Lee?
Question.
Yes, Mr. Malozzi.
Mr. Lee, and I don't know if this for you or Mr. Spray, but I noticed in the letter too that on-lot septic or a pretty significant connection to the existing sanitary sewer would be required. Is a determination made on how that would be addressed?
So there is sanitary sewer in the street. So what we'd have to do, because it's a single lot, it would only be allocated for one EDU. This is more than an 800 gallon increase. The EDUs here are, this area are 250, but still it's 6 units. So depending on how that would come out, we'd have to do the normal request through the city to find out if there's for allocation, and we may possibly have to do planning as we get to that point. Right now, we know that there's a connection right there at William and 8th at a minimum. I think there's actually one closer, but we'd be able to tie in there.
Okay, and that would be the desired. So I would imagine, I don't know how you accommodate on lot. I honestly don't on a steep slope site.
Yeah,
like
we
this.
wouldn't be able to. There's a restriction for septic systems over 12%. Once you get past 12%, you have to go with spray irrigation, and just for one house, those are like an acre. So it would have to be public connection.
Okay, so that's part of the calculus for the
Mhm.
the development then.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions at this time?
Do we know, it's heavily forested, do we know how much is going to be preserved? Do we have any inclination on how much we're taking away from that area?
On the plan, I think was the top sheet of what I gave out. There is a limit of disturbance there, which is the dark dash line, which is the most uphill of the lines surrounding.
Yeah.
So basically, we're trying to keep as much and limit the disturbance as much as we can. I mean, I personally am all about trees.
Right, right.
You know,
So,
I want to keep them.
so the total lot is listed as roughly 1.4 acres. Our limited disturbance is, and it'll change over time, but let's just call it half an acre. I'm showing it as 21,000. So the idea would be in the neighborhood of 0.9 to an acre of trees preserved.
Thank you.
I'm going to allow Mr. Pfeiffer at this time. I'm sorry, Ms. Cohen, you have a question?
Do you want me to go first? Well, the zoning comments in the city's letter mention it's likely the project would require additional variances. Do you anticipate requesting a sidewalk deferral for this lot?
I think there's a number of comments in there for roadway improvements and widening. I think we want to have a conversation with staff on that. It's only 6 units. And we'd have to look into where we're connecting. So I don't know that I can answer that yet. I think I'd like to sit with staff or perhaps see what the temperature is for that as to whether or not sidewalks a appropriate fit for this section, especially if they want roadway improvements too.
Yeah.
Remember, we're trying to stay as close to the road as possible. And if they want us to widen the road for safety, we may ask for a deferral on the sidewalk.
It appears from the aerial that the sidewalk stops at the property line or close to the property line. And then the other comment I saw somewhere was about the height of the building, 2.5 stories. Is that what's anticipated based on setting the grades so that could happen?
Correct. That's what we're showing on the, if you want to call it, third floor plan. And we've done the calculation on that to show that it is a 1/2 story. By your codes and ordinances, it qualifies as a 1/2 story.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Pfeiffer. Mr. Pfeiffer, the memo October 7th is rather lengthy. Let's try to solidify some key components and allow Mr. Lee and Ms. Tinche to kind of comment on those as well.
Brevity will be my creed, Chairman. So this is the first that city has been made aware that the applicant is contemplating a zoning map amendment. So our letter does not reflect that request. Certainly they're entitled to that option. And if that's the option that they choose to pursue, then we'll have another meeting here before the Planning Commission. Not having that information, we did look at this strictly from a zoning perspective. There is a significant amount of relief that is required. They are enumerated under 1A through E, specifically a use variance where semi-detached dwellings are not a permitted use within the RR district. The next couple items all pertain to the steep slopes ordinance, including lot size, maximum impervious coverage, heights of retaining walls, and then there is a last one on the setback from the front yard. The applicant did not provide elevations so that we cannot necessarily determine what the height is. Therefore, there's some comments that you'll see in there that are standard from our fire marshal. The zoning officer and actually the Planning Bureau do reference 134403C and what the intent of the RR district is, and that is more for rural areas, hence the name, and single-family detached dwellings on larger size lots as opposed to anything else. Just going over a couple points, some of them already made by Planning Commission members under sanitary engineering. Obviously, there is a need to extend the main that is at 8th and William. The applicant already acknowledged that. There would then be subsequently an tap fee and a planning module requirement. Under miscellaneous, this comment about sidewalk and curbing to be installed, that's standard. Anytime there's a development, if the street is not satisfactory, the Public Works Department will look for a widening of the street, curb and sidewalk to be installed. That would have to be a request for a waiver and a further conversation. Again, the applicant already acknowledged that to their credit. Our electrical engineer did indicate some additional street light would be required. Our city forester indicated that a complete landscaping plan would need to be submitted. That would also include, to Mr. Pongrantz's comment, any notification or identification of trees that would have to be replaced, that would need to be removed as part of the development project. The city fire marshal, as again I mentioned, comment about building height, that really comes into play on how they're going to approach apparatus coming to the site. Most of his comments are standard, just making sure that apparatus can meet the site, get access to all aspects of the building, and not have any impediments. And then, of course, they are always looking for certain plans, utility plan, truck turning radius plan, grading plans, and elevations for the building. The zoning officer also reiterated some of the relief that was needed, also reiterated the inventory of trees and the areas to be preserved, again, referencing the steep slope ordinance. Under general comments, we really just have two standard ones. One is that We do require pedestrian access under our new saldo. So pedestrian access would need to be provided to the fronts of each of the units, and that we do require vegetated ground cover and only the use of river rock or other types of non-vegetated cover where it is deemed absolutely necessary. The application, of course, as a sketch, is not going to include comments from the EAC or Atlanta at this time. Those would be forthcoming.
Thank you, Mr. Pfeiffer. And obviously, Ms. DJ and Mr. Lee and Mr. Spray, he kind of just did a quick overview. You obviously saw the October 7th memo. Is there anything on there that you're not in agreement with, or anything pertaining to the city's recommendations you're open to continue?
I'm in agreement with all of it, but no, I'm just kidding. It's stuff that we're going to need to address. I mean, it's no surprises. The only one that I'd probably look at would be this inventory of trees. We've got an acre site that's all trees. You know, we just need to probably meet with the forester or whoever at the city would make that call and say, look, are we really looking at, you know, inventorying all 10,000 trees that are on this site and diameter and type and all this other stuff? Or, you know, what are we really looking at? But that's something down the road. I'm not worried about that now. We will meet with whoever we need to meet with, satisfy whatever needs to be satisfied moving forward. So,
In reference, I guess this is for Mr. Spray. Were you, just so we're on the same page, was it your intent to pursue the lot be placed in RT as it is now in RR? Is that your intent, or is it just keeping it zoned the way it is and it's abutting RT? I just want to clarify that, because that's something that
I believe that the better path, you know, having done this for a little while, I believe the better path, considering we abut the RT, is to extend that RT line around this property. And I think we'd like to explore that first. For the heavy items, some of the items are normal land development things that we'd have to go through: road widening, sewers, you know, tree inventory, what have you. For the zoning things that remain, we have use and we have setback. If it's in the RT district, then we don't have those variances. We, as was brought up, I believe at the beginning, you know, a single family is permitted, but in order to get to the top, if we did one, then there's not a land development, it's just a plot plan. In order to get up there, we're going to clear half the site and move half the site to a landfill. And so I think that this is a better approach all across the board, and the easiest path for everyone to do that would be just to extend that RT line around the property since we're adjacent to it. If we have to go for just a straight up use variance, we can pursue that path. But I think this is more beneficial to.
Thank you. And again, I said this earlier, that's going to be up to the zoning hearing board. I'm looking at the zoning relief from the memo. Obviously, the one you just mentioned being allowed in the RR. However, 3 of them deal with what the biggest issue seems to be, and that's the slope. The slope has an impact on number 1B, number 1C, and number 1D as it pertains to what you're going to have to get relief on. The dimensional variance pertaining to the setback sounds not really connected with the slopes, but it seems that's going to be the largest hurdle you're going to have to overcome.
So the design for this building was to use the slope the best that we can. The garages go into the basement, if you will. Some developers call this a tunnel under design. And then the first floor is up, and the idea is so you could walk out the back. But even then, you still have to have the retaining walls behind there in order to go up even higher, because it just goes in that fast. With the single family slope of, setback, front yard setback of, I believe it's 25 feet. that just makes it that much worse and pushes us deeper into there. That's why we're pursuing this path, because these units just work better with the slope, and even then, it's not fantastic. It's just better.
Ms. DJ, have you, has there been other projects in the past where you've done units like this?
Well, I have another project somewhere out in Stroudsburg, but not on a slope like this.
I guess what I'm saying is, normally we like to see some of the aesthetics, some of the renderings, so we can provide feedback with that as well. I understand what Mr. Lee said. You're not going to dive all in until you know what you're going to be approved for. So when it comes to some of those things for a sketch plan review, that's where we can be a little bit more helpful. Seems the meat of this is going to be the zoning, which is fine. And obviously some of the other items that were mentioned here in the October 7th memo by Mr. Pfeiffer. So
just to clarify, if they do pursue a zoning map change, what would happen is they would submit a petition to city council for the map change. It would actually be reviewed by this commission again, as well as by the LVPC. There would be a public hearing before council, and then they would take their 2 votes, first and second read, if council were amenable to adopting the zoning change. So those would be the layers of review. So it wouldn't actually come up before the zoning hearing board. It would be a legislative change by council.
are we?
And that, of course, would be step one. Step two would be if there are any remaining variances that we need under the new zoning ordinance.
Right, I was just addressing the map change.
Yeah. Yep. Now, I would like Barbara to address some of the issues that are not building or steep slope or zoning related. There's just a couple of things regarding the need for the project, fitting in with city planning, et cetera. And I understand need for speed here. So I'll let you take
Certainly,
it over.
yeah, please.
Sure, I'll make it short and sweet. So also part of this, so my husband is the partner in the business. We found that this property is actually in a qualified opportunity zone. So we took that into consideration. We did understand, to some degree, we're not the professionals like Mr. Lee and Mr. Spray, but we knew that the slope could potentially be a little bit of an issue, so to speak. But we also realized that with Bethlehem, and we saw that there was a document online too, that Bethlehem is also considering, adjusting some zoning to begin with. Yep, that was back in 2023. So, but qualified opportunity zones were put in place. I think it was 2017 when on the federal level they worked with the local governments to find census tracts that needed redevelopment in areas that needed growth and opportunity. So we know that Bethlehem is really growing, the whole Lehigh Valley, and I learned that Northampton is like within the top 10% of counties growing in the U.S. So it just ties into why we, thought this would be a good opportunity. We're looking to do long-term investment as well. We're not looking to buy, build, and sell. We're looking to use this as rental properties. So.
Thank you. Any questions? Any planning commission members for either Ms. DJ, Mr. Lee, Mr. Spray, or city staff pertaining to the sketch plan review?
In particular, the top item of what I just handed out is addressing what we're talking about to a T. Updating city zoning to encourage neighborhood compatible infill affordable housing development. That's exactly what we're here tonight to discuss with you about a adjustment of the zoning district to allow development and especially development of the affordable housing.
Right.
And this is straight out of your city
Right.
documents, planning documents.
Understood. Mr. Malozzi.
Question. Yes, thank you. It's a tough lot. We have we have those, I guess, particularly in that side of town with the steep slopes. We've run into this before. I think First Avenue, we had one like this several years ago, but that one I think needed 10 or 12 variances to build. So this isn't in that league, but they're starting to pile up. And I guess that wondering if I should be as concerned about that. I know that the sewage will be an issue. You can't really do on lot, so you have to connect. That has to be part of your pro forma there. But I'm wondering about stormwater management when you have slopes like this, and if that's something that the city had thought of or commented on. Any concerns about that, or it's just going to have to be designed, and it might be a little bit more of an expensive design? Is there public storm sewer out in that area to tie into? Do we know? No, not sure. Yeah. Just a thought there, and it's a sketch plan, so just throwing that out there. That would be Mr. Spray's issue to deal with. But yeah, I guess that's the only concern is the 3 variances that have to do with the steep slopes, and they're significant too. The impervious surface, stormwater that impacts stormwater, the lot size. But otherwise, how do we put this lot into productive use in the city? I don't have a better idea because you're dealing with these slopes no matter what. But I guess just whatever can be done to minimize that impact. It looks like retaining walls are the only thing that you have available to you. And I realize that you also have a number of steps too before you even get to finalized design too. But in terms of just gathering comments, and then also Ms. Cohen brought up about the sidewalks. Definitely like to try to fit in pedestrian access if possible. And I think that's it. Those would be my only comments. Is like the idea and where it's coming from. Just a little concerned about the geography of the area and accommodating that in your engineering design.
That's really why Brian designed things the way that he has, is trying to take advantage, not necessarily take advantage of the site, but try and respond to a relatively tough site.
Mhm.
And how can we develop this site with minimal impact? And I think he's done a great job of, the balancing act between creating a project that is, I say, more so financially available, even financially feasible, because to develop this as a single family home with those steep slopes and the amount of wreckage that you're going to have to go through to get something to work here is very difficult, and probably without too much thought is going to create much more of a significant impact to the environment up there than what we're proposing. And that's what we're trying to find, is a happy medium between creating a project that is actually viable and buildable in today's economy, because we all know construction costs are just ridiculous right now. So I think we've really come to a pretty decent solution here.
Understood. And maybe it's a question for staff. I recall we had an application fairly recently, and I don't know if it applies to the RR, but just maybe it would. If it does, maybe a map change wouldn't be necessary. But for steep slopes, or it's not even steep slopes, but dedication of open space, wooded areas, allowing for greater density. Is that, it was like 1308 or something like? Is that
The
applicable?
conservation section.
Yes.
Actually, the engineer is sitting in the audience that brought that to us the last time. It was the gold tract we talked about.
Okay. Yeah. Is that applicable here in the RR?
That's a great question. It could be.
Maybe something to investigate if that would allow the townhomes instead of single families with the dedication of open space. The map change is not necessary. You don't see that very often. That's why it's stuck in my mind.
Garage is single car, 2-car,
2-car.
2-car garage, and then a driveway with that as well.
Yes.
So
So we're
Plenty
not
of-
anticipating any street parking here. Certainly not the need for it. We're creating 2 indoor parking spaces with 2 backed up directly
Right,
behind it. So
right.
each unit, we're looking at potentially 4 parking spaces.
Anything else for Mr. Lee, Mr. Spray, or Ms. Nietzsche?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Cohen.
If I could just add to my question regarding the sidewalks. Typically, we like to include sidewalks if at all feasible, and not defer them. It is a deferral, so the city could still require them at a later point if they were deferred. But this is, I just want to point out that this is a project with 3-bedroom apartments. Typically, that would involve families, school-age families possibly, and if the school district doesn't have sidewalks, I believe that they're required to provide buses. So I would definitely be leaning towards seeing sidewalks if at all possible, for the safety of anybody that would be living in those 6 units.
And that is mentioned in the memo. Obviously, that would be something when you get to a final project approval you can ask for, but certainly that's something that I know the city is very, adamant about trying to the walkability of it. So
Craig, are there sidewalks on down? Can you take a stroll further down the road there?
That's your closest sidewalk.
Certainly none on the other side. No, straight ahead where you were before. Is that a sidewalk there on the left? Yeah.
any other questions from the Planning Commission? Anyone here in attendance have any questions or comments on the sketch plan review at 740 William Street? Seeing none, hopefully, Ms. Nietzsche, do you have any other questions for us? Is there any other comments? Mr. Lee, Mr. Spray, is there anything? Hopefully this was helpful in terms of getting it a very, I'll call it unique project started. Is there any other questions you have for us? Mr. Pfeiffer?
Just one final comment. While this was submitted to you as a sketch plan, it does qualify for a site plan review. Therefore, it does give you as Planning Commission the option to weigh in on any of the relief that is being sought.
Passing along a recommendation of zoning?
It is whatever the Planning Commission desires. You can take no action, you can make a recommendation, support, or not in favor.
I'm going to ask Counselor what his feelings are on that. I with a unique project like this, I would be fine not acting on it at this time. Only because, but I will say for the record, I am in support of Ms. Nietzsche's comments in reference to the site itself and the opportunity to utilize some of the proposed new housing strategies that the city is pushing for. I would support that without a doubt, but in terms of the zoning, I'll turn it over, Counselor.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's a tendency not to want to step on the toes of the zoning hearing board. And that's why we refrain from making recommendations. Also, I think maybe a silence is appropriate given that while the applicant has a note on their plan about seeking a variance for the use, it sounds like, at least in the first instance, that's not what they're going to do. So if kind of the primary zoning relief is seeking a map change, this will actually come back before you, at which point it would be appropriate to make recommendations on the map change. So in light of that, the project may be in flux until then, you might want to hold off on recommendations.
Is there any other feelings from the Planning Commission in reference to that?
I prefer to wait until we have more information.
I agree.
Fine.
Agree. That's fine.
No action.
Okay.
So, best of luck. Please continue to have discussion and dialogue with our city staff, and hopefully this help. We'll see you soon. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Our next agenda item, Another sketch plan review at 539 Brighton Street. Will the applicant representatives come on forward? We'll give you a minute or so to get your things in order. When you're ready, you may begin. Mr. Ankra, Mr. Scamilio, welcome. When you're ready, you may begin.
Sure. For the record, I'm Victor Scamilio here on behalf of the applicant, Makeda Partners, 539 Brighton. And with that, I would turn it over to my client to discuss his plan that he has submitted for the development of this lot with a 6-unit townhome.
Good evening. Good evening, planning members. Okay, Craig, you've got us at the site location. What I am proposing, I have an existing lot at 539 Brighton that currently has a 1950s era single family 2-bedroom home on it. The lot area, I believe, is 23,000 square feet or thereabouts. I am proposing to, and let me preface that this is in the RG district. So multifamily housing is permitted, I believe, with 4,000 square foot densities. We are proposing to tear down the existing single-family home and construct 6 attached townhomes. As you can see on the site plan, the main or front face of the buildings will be facing west. The side face, yeah, there you go. And now these are proposed as 2-story units, although the front elevation, appears to show a 3-story elevation. Based on the topography of the lot, the majority of they basically have basement garages with mid-level entries leading up to the living space on the first and second floors, which are above the basement level. Again, based on the topography of the lot, the majority of the basement level will be below grade, meaning the, Craig, I don't know if you want to show the grading plan now or, yeah, okay. Unfortunately, the green contours aren't showing up very well, but the lot does slope somewhat significantly from the north to south, with it raising higher in the south. We plan on basically plateauing the property for the distance of the proposed 6 townhomes. You saw on the elevations that Craig had up earlier what the north side will somewhat look like once once we develop the final grading plan. We expect it to look somewhat similar to what's shown there, which is the side facing Brighton Street. On the south end of the property, we will be building a small retaining wall, probably no more than 4 to 5 feet high. That's shown as that heavy black line right now, coming off the what would be the southwest corner of the last unit, and retaining the higher portion of the site at that point.
Why don't you tell the board about the surrounding
Oh,
neighborhood
yeah.
and what's around?
Then I should, I'm glad Attorney Scamilio brought that up. This is very much in keeping with what exists in that immediate area. In fact, Craig, if you could street view the property immediately, the properties immediately, I guess it would be southwest. That is across the street on Brighton. There's a number of attached single-family townhomes there. They pretty much dominate that area. Brighton, Cherokee. If you turn immediately southward, you should see. Okay, if you're heading back down Brighton, the subject house is blurred out. The previous owner, I don't know, I figured out how to do that on Google, but that's what it looks like when it's gone. But if you move right next door, you'll see a 6-unit Tudor building. Exactly. And then if you move again further, I guess it'd be southwest, you'll see another 6-unit. And if you move up Cherokee, you'll see a number, I believe there's an 8-unit, another 6-unit further up. That's pretty much, sorry?
Those are, that's
Yeah,
not Cherokee.
That's Cherokee Street, yeah.
That
Oh, I'm
there is
sorry, no,
not,
that's
yeah.
Unicus, yeah, exactly. If you continue up,
Cherokee's down right
further,
there,
exactly.
right where the Wilbur.
Yeah, where Wilbur is, I apologize, I went the wrong way. But there are units on Cherokee that would give you somewhat of a sense of what I'm proposing.
And Mr. Ronca, you have been in front of us many times before, and your elevations, your renderings are much appreciated. You've incorporated what appears to be, I'll say, a stone kind of facade that
Yes, sir.
seems to marry well with other dwellings on Brighton. Is that
Yes.
correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that I'm looking to construct a very attractive small townhome development. You can see they all have single car garages. They're 22-foot width, 38-foot depth proposed, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom.
Is there a driveway leading into
Yes,
those garages?
yes,
as well?
We meet all parking requirements. We will have one covered parking with the garage space and one other space. Yeah, unfortunately, the line work is not showing up too well there, but you should be able to see the proposed, in that light blue line work, the proposed, in fact, Craig, is there another? Yeah, that one may show it a little bit better, the proposed parking.
I see in the blue,
Yes,
the driveways. Yeah.
exactly.
And that road right there in front is Brighton, correct?
That's correct.
Correct. Thanks.
As to the planning review comments letter, I believe one comment was, if we want to speak to to any zoning relief, the only relief we would need is the RG allows a maximum of, I believe, 4 contiguous units. We are proposing 6 to, I think it's a much better appearance on the project rather than trying to split it up into 2 packs of 3 or a 4 and a 2. We just believe it's a better fit. And quite frankly, we struggle with seeing, how can I say it? I'll leave this up to Attorney
Well,
Scamilio
You
to
can,
comment.
in this district, you can have a multifamily apartment unit there that would house as many people and have the same layout or same volume or square footage as this proposal. The only difference is the style of it being a townhome versus an apartment building. And we think that the apartment or the townhome appearance fits better with the neighborhood, looks more residential, gives more of a sense of individual ownership and use than an apartment building. So it's just really that style that creates that zoning relief that would be needed. And I talked to Mr. Pfeiffer before about what type of variance is it, and it would fall into a variance that would be needed, not necessarily use, more akin to probably a dimensional.
It's a dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
So we haven't differentiated this before. The way we've approached this is either it's dimensional, where it's clearly from the dimensional table, or it's a use variance, or we just say variance for anything else that requires relief from the ordinance. But it doesn't have the same burden of hardship that you would under a use variance.
Yeah, I mean, it's still an attached set of dwellings, right? I mean,
Right.
and we're just saying 6, not 4.
Correct.
And certainly we're not looking to, like the prior applicant, looking to change the zoning itself for that lot.
No.
But it is one of those anomalies in the
Sure.
zoning ordinance where I could put an apartment building in and not need any zoning relief,
Yeah.
but the style of the 6 townhomes requires it. So,
And to Attorney Scamilio's point, you could effectively build a building that looks very similar in the facade. Identical in the facade, actually, and it be a 6-unit apartment building as opposed to a 6 townhomes.
Anything else that you want to point out, Mr. Scamilio or Mr. Ronca, from the letter before I turn it over to Mr. Pfeiffer so he can address?
The only other thing there's really no other things I know. One comment was made to better get the north elevation to look more as an entry, which we'll work with planning on that as always.
Mr. Pfeiffer, I'll turn it over to you for the November 7th memo.
Thank you. I'll go over this briefly because the applicant has already pointed out a lot of these things. We did talk about the number of units in a row and that requiring relief. Part B under that is a series of definition questions that we had. The applicant did submit to us this morning a topographic plan. I believe we can work with the applicant to find a way where he meets the ordinance and would not need relief for that section. There's a multitude of ways of addressing that issue.
And that's 1B on the memo?
That is correct. That is correct. And
I was a little confused on that one. That's why I'm glad.
there's a series of definitions. And it's interesting because when David first brought this project to our attention back in the end of October, I'd sent him an email that articulated all the different sections, and he and I have been back and forth on how can he address this issue and not have it be part of the relief. Worst case scenario, he goes to the zoning hearing board, he can add this in, but I believe that he can find a way to not have this be
Okay.
inclusive of that request for relief. We've talked about the north elevation, the advantage of working with a developer that we've had a relationship from quite a few years is we can modify this facade. We can find ways to make it look more like a front facade, and I take him at his word for that. If in fact, for whatever reason, the zoning hearing board were to deny his request, certainly we can continue to work with him on how that layout could be broken into either two sets of 3 or a set of 2 and a set of 4, and we'll cross that if in fact we come to it. The engineer's comments are pretty limited. They're just looking for additional information. Again, this is a sketch plan, so the applicant isn't required to do a full-blown set of preliminary final land development. So existing features is going to be one of the big items. The city forester is also looking for landscaping plans, specifically to address replacement trees, street trees, new to the Saldo, the trees for the increase in impervious coverage, any buffer plantings and foundation plantings also to be included on that. Fire marshal has their standard comments, probably more concerned about making sure they can get apparatus in and then turned around and back out of the site. And again, that will come with a future submission of land development. And they requested their typical turning plans, site plans, grading plans. The zoning officer made a couple comments as it pertains to if this were ever to be a condominium. Just as a heads up, there's some things that might need to be addressed, but that is just a FYI for the applicant. Their last item, or his last item, was just in regards to refuse collection. This also is referenced by the city recycling folks, that they're just looking for how refuse would be collected, stored, and then disposed of, whether that's dumpster, totes, inside, outside. Obviously, if it's outside, then we need the screening for it. Under our general comments, we do pull a lot of stuff out of our new Saldo here, mostly in relation to comments that Mr. Malozzi made earlier, that the applicant is encouraged to consider green options to promote stormwater infiltration and filtration of pollutants. And that could be through suitable alternative surfaces such as porous pavement or pervious pavers, rain gardens or bioswales, or directing stormwater from roof downspouts to suitable vegetative areas, just as a few examples. Another comment I'll make is just the standard vegetative ground cover, that we are looking for vegetated ground cover in lieu of not vegetated ground cover. Pardon me. And that's the summation of the letter.
So obviously, Mr. Rock, again, you've been in front of us several times before, and really appreciate you coming in today to kind of present what your vision is for this project in a location where I feel between the growth of the city, particularly on the south side, St. Luke's being right in that area, in that vicinity. Obviously, the Wilbur apartments that have been are almost, I'm sure, filled, and I think this is a great project to kind of marry well with what already is there. Is there anything, Mr. Scamilio, that your client has an issue with based upon the city's comments on November 7th?
I don't believe so, no.
No, not at all.
Any questions, comments for Mr. Ronka from the Planning Commission at this time?
I have one.
Yes, Mr. Malozzi.
If you don't mind, Mr. Pfeiffer, can we take a look at the Google map aerial? And just wanted to take a look because you're gathering comments like
Sure.
on buffering, because the north side, we talked about the elevation, the aesthetics will be important because that's fronting Brighton Street. So already touched on that. Is it 539? Is it?
539 is the address, yes.
That's the one. Okay. So I guess when we get to the point with landscape plans and such, just because there's existing dwelling units, the proper buffering from the neighbors. and
Absolutely,
those kinds
yes.
of comments.
In fact, fortunately, I believe that to the south is another multifamily. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's one of the larger, older properties on 3rd Street, which is Delaware. It becomes Delaware.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, exactly.
3rd and Cherokee are a lot of
Yeah,
older buildings that were renovated, turned into apartments. I know
I
that.
said they were turned to multifamily.
I
use.
lived on one on Cherokee, so. Yeah. Nice.
From humble beginnings.
And fortunately, they are a good distance away from there's a good distance between how can I say it, the south side of our property, the north property, their respective north property lines. There's a good deal of separation there.
Otherwise, yeah, obviously you could go denser in this with a different style of building, and appreciate that it's not trying to do too much with the lot. Those would be my comments, is just the buffering and the aesthetics along Brighton Street. That's all. Thank you.
Yep. No. Thank you.
Ms. Cohen, anything at this time? Mr. Pongratz? Anyone here in attendance have any comments for Mr. Ronka as it pertains to 539 Brighton? Seeing none, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I'm assuming that we are going to take no action in terms of the zoning relief. Slightly different than previous applicant, but unless anyone here wants to, Mr. Scamilio, or is your client okay with that, Mr. Ronk, if we don't
Fine with us.
leave that up to the.
Fully
zoning
understood.
board? Anything else? Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Moving forward. Just for everyone that we know, we did have a last minute deletion to be continued for next month. The land development plan at 334th Street will be pushed till next month, Mr. Yandam. I didn't know if you knew that or not. So our next agenda item, 1550 Spillman Drive, LVIP. Applicant, come on forward. When you're ready, introduce yourself. You may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kerry Roble, President of Lehigh Valley Industrial Park. And with me is Andy Bull of Hanover Engineering, who's our civil engineer.
Thank you, Mr. Rommel. Good to see you again, Mr. Bull, as
Sure.
well. But if you're ready to go, we'll
Sure.
fire away.
As you know, Lehigh Valley Industrial Park has been developing LVIP 7 now for almost 25 years. We started with 1,000 acres of land, and we're down to less than 30. And on the remaining parcels, we've been looking to see if we can address economic development needs of the region. In our conversation with brokers and businesses, and also the Lehigh Valley Economic Development Corporation, it's come to our attention that there is a dramatic need for quality industrial space buildings that are sold instead of being leased. So we take it upon ourselves to do our investigative work, and we decided that there is, in fact, a demand, and we like to address that sort of hole in the economic development map of the Lehigh Valley region. So we are planning to construct a 50,000 square foot building. The intent is to sell to a manufacturer. We'll be patient to do that, and the goal would be to find a light manufacturer with no emissions, no odors, no outside storage. And I think we've done it and created a package there. If you look at the architecture, is quite commendable for an industrial building and for its location at Lynn Avenue and 412. So that is the plan for this evening, and Andy's going to walk you through the engineering aspects.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Like Kerry said, this property is in LVIP 7. It's known as 1550 Spillman Drive, or LVIP Lot 8. It's fronted on East 4th Street. To the south, to the east, Lynn Avenue, and to the north is Spillman Drive. Our project is proposing two means of egress, vehicular access from Spillman Drive, and then also we're proposing the one to the easterly side is for passenger or passenger vehicles. The west side driveway is to access the loading docks that are facing on the western elevation. We're in receipt of the city's November 7th comment letter, and I spoke to your chief engineer, Basil, and we talked about some of the comments, and basically he was okay with us putting in the 24-inch HDPE pipe as comment number 2 on his public works stormwater engineering. We're okay with one of the things is I'd like to bring up is the stormwater fee of $3,060 for increase of impervious coverage. The LVIP 7 property has always been known as 100% impervious, and what we're proposing is to reduce the impervious coverage. And it was our understanding that would not be, that stormwater fee is not applicable for a particular project of this magnitude. So that's something that we can talk about. And then also I talked to Basil the other day pertaining to the sidewalks. We're asking for a waiver, but I understand waivers are not granted, but more of a deferral of the sidewalks. And he's in I believe the engineering department is in support of not putting the sidewalks in at this time. Currently, there is a bus stop that's located on the southeasterly corner of our property that's shown on the aerial that's in front of you right now. So we have sidewalk on Lynn Avenue, and then what we're proposing to do is extend the sidewalk to our first driveway on the eastern driveway. And also what we are proposing to do is to install a crosswalk striping before the stop bar that's at the intersection of Lynn and Spillman Drive there. One of the reasons why we don't want to put the sidewalks extended along Spillman Drive in a westerly direction is if we extend it or install it to the westerly direction, where it terminates would be on the radius, and then there's sidewalks on the other side of Spillman Drive, and it would direct people off the sidewalk into Spillman Drive, or they would have to cross Spillman Drive on a radius, and it would be very, in my opinion, humble opinion, it'd be dangerous for pedestrians to cross on a radius such as that. And also your staff is in agreement on not extending the sidewalk on a westerly direction along East 4th Street, because as you head westerly, it becomes a pinch point, and then you'd be directing the people onto 4th Street, where the speed limit is designated as 40, but we know it's much, people go faster than that. And one of the things that I'd like to bring up is there's sidewalks on the south side of 4th Street that directs people in a westerly direction, and then has better pedestrian crossings at Daly Street, and then also more westerly on Daly Street towards the casino. There's a traffic controlled intersection there that would be better for everybody to if they wanted to come from our site or over from LVIP to the casino area. It's better to traverse on the westerly or southerly side of 4th Street and on Daly Avenue.
Mr. Yandam, you want to jump in on the sidewalks to just confirm what Mr. Bull is saying? Is that the wishes of the city at this time?
Yes, as discussed in Public Works, we decided to defer the installation of the sidewalk for the time being until the abutting building, if it was developed at a later stage, then they will both have to install sidewalks.
Right. So, Mr. Bull, Mr. Roble, you're filing a deferment in terms of if it is necessary in the future. That's
correct.
Anything
We
else?
asked for a waiver, but I found out that
Yeah.
a deferral is
That's normally what we.
okay.
For Spillman, you're talking about, we don't believe there should be a sidewalk on
For
412.
Spillman or for
Deferrals
4th
for
Street,
both.
if
Deferrals.
at a later stage we see that
Right.
it might be continued at one point, we might ask for it, but
Okay.
it's
Normally, that's
Mhm.
you know what the city recommends, and we prefer as well that if it's needed down the road.
Basil, there are deferrals for both Spillman and
yes,
4th Street, right? Not waivers for either.
No, no
Deferrals for
waiver.
both.
Deferrals.
Okay.
deferrals
There's some-
until Public Works, Director of Public Works
Can we,
to install.
Mr. Yandam or Mr. Pfeiffer, can we elaborate on what Mr. Bull was mentioning about the was it a
The
impervious
stormwater fee?
coverage?
I can
Please,
answer that.
please.
So usually when every new development, they have to pay for a stormwater fee, not just the fee, I mean for construction. But because this is an Act 2 site, it's already considered fully impervious. So they won't have to pay this amount during development. They will be paying the yearly fee, stormwater fee.
Mr. Pfeiffer, is that correct in saying that?
Correct.
And the city's fine with that?
Yes.
Mr. Bull, correct?
Yes, we're okay with that.
Thanks for the clarification.
Other than that, we have no issues addressing.
No
any of the-
tenant at this time, just
No, we're waiting for approval tonight and we'll start our marketing tomorrow. Yeah. Mhm.
And we should just note that Lehigh Valley Planning Commission's approved this. We've also received the planning module approval, and we received our minor amendment to the MPDS permit for this property as well. So we have all our ducks in a row, I believe, that we're only waiting for a recommendation from you guys, or
how
approval, I
many,
should say.
how many parking spots are allocated for this lot?
57 we have shown on there, and there's 4 ADA parking spaces, and they're all located on the easterly side of the building.
I see you've supplied the renderings and the elevations. Is there any? Ms. Cohen usually likes to jump in on that and supply, as a architect always gives some great feedback. You want to talk a little bit about the materials making up the exterior of the building itself?
Yes, so basically we tried to pick up on the theme of the adjacent buildings. So number one, our office building, which is at 1720 Spillman Drive, which is a 42,000 square foot Class A office building. And then next is the Candlewood Suites, which we actually required them also to, well, encouraged them to put a brick facing on the first floor. Just makes sense in a high traffic area like hotels, instead of having drive it. It's 100%. So we're picking up on that theme, and it's probably I think it's the first industrial building in our history of 66 years where there's actually an industrial building that's going to have brick on sort of that first 8 feet, and then painted panels above. Those elongated structures there will be vertical, narrow, clear glass windows, and we'll also have facade fins as well to break up the massing fronting onto 412. That's the southern facade. And of course, you have the glass atrium at the corner. We put glass, we have clear glass on the first floor on the east facing. That's where we're proposing the end user would place their offices. So that, again, they have daylighting into the facility, and so more daylighting would come in through the atrium as well for our office users. And then on the north facing, that's a better view of that north facing, which is the next one there, Craig. We said we break that up as well. You can see the breaks in the brick so you don't have this massing. We have windows again placed in here to provide some daylighting into the north side. We actually have double downspouts, which is a cool function. It has functionality, but then also a form. So as folks are driving on Spillman, again, it's not a blank wall. And then the other facade is just the loading docks, which that's facing Lehigh Heavy Forge, and which has, employees are not looking out of that building. So that's it has less of the brick there facing there, but still we had 2 returns on both corners.
Thank you, Mr. Roble.
Sure.
Mr. Pfeiffer, the memo, November 7th, it looks pretty straightforward. Is there anything that Mr. Yandom mentioned? Is there anything else that needs to be highlighted from that memo?
We went to extensive efforts to find things to make comment about. But true to Mr. Roble and Mr. Bowles' submissions, they've certainly done this before. They've got a very clean letter, and we have just one comment, and that is that there is no comment from the city's traffic consultant, Benchmark.
Thank you. Anyone in the Planning Commission have any questions or comments for Mr. Roble or Mr. Bowl? Mr. Malozzi, yes.
Is there an existing bus shelter there right now?
Yes.
On the pad?
Just a stop, not a shelter.
Okay. And is that rendering accurate? There will be a shelter that looks like that there?
No,
I
but we did that for structural purposes. Yeah.
But is there a more traditional shelter planned for that?
No.
No, just remain a stop. Okay. And then with respect to the sidewalk deferrals, so there's requests for deferrals on both Spillman and 4th Street at this time.
Correct.
Correct.
And it's not to extend it beyond the bus stop in a westerly direction, and nor or on Spillman Drive beyond our first driveway.
Mhm.
We do, and what we do have is we have direct access from those sidewalks in the right of way to our front, the easterly elevation. You can't see it on this plan. I mean, on the aerial, but on our plan, we tie into both of the sidewalks on our land development plan. If you see there, we have a proposed sidewalk coming from just east of the bus stop to our site, and then it traverses through and ties into the sidewalk on Spillman Drive.
And is the land to the east also, that's LVIP property as well too, in terms of future development?
Right. They already had a true hotel that was already approved on the
Or the-
half
I'm
acre
sorry,
parcel
The
to
west,
to
yeah.
the
So my other left, exactly.
On the
oh, yeah.
easterly side
eastern
is
side. Right.
Yeah,
West is the Heavy Forge.
look on the far
that's Heavy
left
Forge.
side.
Yes.
That's Lehigh
Mhm.
Heavy Forge.
Okay.
Mhm.
So in terms of sidewalk deferrals till they're needed, like along 4th Street, when would that be, like in city's eyes? Because there was the comment is like, we're going to defer this until it's needed, like when the next,
Mr. Yanam, you want to jump in on that one?
maybe the Google aerial is more appropriate for that question. Like, it's,
Well, I think it would be if Lehigh Heavy Forge was ever vacated and that was to be developed, that would be probably the only time you would want to extend that. Because basically what happens if you traverse westerly on East 4th Street on our side, you come into a pinch point, and then there's a guide rail on just beyond the bridge for the railroad. So if you see there, you got the guide rail, you got the curbs, you don't have much, you have basically 3 to 4 feet between the guide rail, and then it tapers to 0 there. So then basically you'd be pushing the people into the striped island there, and with the people coming around the curve, it'd just be very dangerous situation there. As we've all been on that road. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So
Go back to what?
the way that we,
In front of the property.
in front of the property. So we always prefer to see sidewalks. We always want those sidewalks to be continued, especially that there is enough room here to install the sidewalk. But at that point, if you put a sidewalk here, you're encouraging people to walk all the way down to here, where they're gonna get to a point on the bridge, they have nowhere to go. We would rather that people stop on the sidewalk right here and go back to here and cross where it's safe to cross, than giving them a lead to go all the way down to a location where they have to cross over the bridge, because nobody's gonna walk all the way back and cross at there. If they don't know the area, that's what's gonna happen. So this is one thing that we are trying to avoid. This is if we are talking on 4th Street.
And on the other side of 4th, that sidewalk goes all the way down, correct?
That sidewalks go all the way
down
down.
past casino. Okay.
So they can, so if people walking across the street, they can cross also here, and they can go all the way down to here, and then they can cross
Sounds like it's a
into
little
the casino.
sounds like it's a little safer.
Yes,
that
it's-
route.
It's definitely safer.
Right.
In the future, if ever this property will be developed, if they will have to continue this sidewalk on their property, and then we will ask LVIP to install their sidewalk.
I think that's the only Heavy Forge in the Northern Hemisphere, if I remember my Don Cunningham. So that's not going anywhere. 'Cause
I
think
would
they make
agree with that.
defense
We're in a
parts
much
that
bigger
nobody
issue.
else can make. So yeah, it's never going to be sidewalk. What about Spillman Drive?
But even they don't have to go anywhere. If they want to do any improvement to their property,
Mhm.
they will have to install a sidewalk. So
And
it's
that-
not just about.
That's going to
new-
be an HOP, and they're going to pull the guide rail back, and so it's going to be a substantial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but if they're gonna do it, we're gonna ask for it because it makes sense to continue the sidewalk on this side too.
Agreed. Can we talk a little bit about the Spillman Drive?
Yes, and on Spillman Drive, again, we prefer to see it going with the sidewalk going all the way, but unfortunately, we got to a point here where there's nowhere else to go. And we prefer not to put a crosswalk, mid-block crosswalk, especially after a turn. So if people gonna walk all the way down on this part on this side of the sidewalk, they're gonna get to a dead end.
Mhm.
Then they're gonna have to cross or walk on the opposite side of the road.
Is that also part of the Heavy Forge property?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
that's the same property.
It's machine shop number 1. Yeah.
It goes all the
That's
way.
it. Mhm.
This is section.
Yeah, our
right?
property comes to a point right
They meet
near
like
where
right
that-
here.
Yeah, right near where the
This is where it
hydrant
ends,
is.
kind of.
Yeah.
Could I add to this discussion about Spillman Drive? It appears on your landscaping plan that there's a future parking lot right about where below where the mouse was just a second ago, down on the left.
Right. So
It's on the landscape plan, but it's right about there.
Yeah, that was for potential, if we would need more parking or if this would be split up, but it's not proposed at this time.
Right.
yeah, our plan is to sell, but that's again was put in for future if we could not sell this parcel and we had to bring in multiple tenants. It's not our plan.
So it seems that a sidewalk on Spillman Drive to the other driveway, not around the curve where it might be dangerous, but just to the other driveway on the north, might be beneficial in the future if there was a parking lot there.
Well, I would say that if that would become the case, that the sidewalk should be put in at that time. We're asking for a deferral. We're not asking for a waiver. So at that later date, if that would be a issue, that would be something that we would look to do.
Mhm.
And the reason why we're showing that in the landscaping plan is so the landscape installer would not put the trees in that particular area in anticipation potential, not to have to remove a tree.
I would say it's a very low probability that we cannot sell this building. And therefore there'd be one user and there's ample parking to the east there.
Any other questions, Planning Commission?
If Lanto were to provide a shelter, would that be consideration if the pad already exists?
Oh, sure. Yeah, if they wanted to install. We've had those conversations in the past. They did not want to
Okay.
install. Yeah.
Usually they're looking for
Yeah.
pads, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's in the city's right away, that pad, if I'm not mistaken.
Can we go back to the rendering of the building itself and Mr. Roble, the size of the windows again?
Oh, that's 44, 42 clear. So it's 5 feet there, I believe, on the facade facing 412. So if you look at that, that's like, what, 2/3?
I know Ms. Rothman, Mr. Pfeiffer, Lynn Rothman, the EAC, the Environmental Advisory Council. Did you see her memo? Did they get a copy of her memo?
I believe you've received it. If not, we'll make sure that you get it. But
Okay.
if I understand your comments, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
was that one of their standard comments is that where there are large expanses of glass because of bird strike, that there is a film that can be applied to that glass that would greatly reduce that potential for bird strike, and that it's always a recommendation that that be included as part of the architectural package.
I would encourage you, and Mr. Roble, I believe me, Do I love birds? Yeah, certainly I do, right? However, the gentleman who actually is an advocate for this is a professor at Muhlenberg, Dr. Dan Clem. I would just encourage you to at least discuss a possibility. No one yet has done this. Now, a lot of our projects are more residential, not as many large windows like you have. I would encourage you to at least meet with him, discuss with him, give him a phone call. Our city staff can hook you up with Lynn Rothman and his contact information, and just listen to what he has to say. And I would love to see one project do it in our city and promote it in a way that we're doing something good for birds, and allow maybe what I'm trying to say is I don't think anyone really knows that such a type of window exists. I really don't. And I would love to see just someone, even if you just meet with them and get some of the information from them that maybe you want to incorporate in the future. Maybe you only want to do one side. I know he mentioned a certain side as it pertains to the sun and whatnot. There's a whole dynamic involved, but it's really, really interesting. And he has a book out that I would implore you to, at least like I said, make contact with him and see if that's something that we'd be willing to do.
Be glad to speak
So,
with them.
thank you.
Sure.
Can I just ask
Yes.
on the waiver request for the sidewalk? Obviously, you're changing that to a deferral, correct?
Yes, sir.
There's a note up here that says it's a waiver from, now a deferral, from section 1349.06B. I think that's a mistake. That doesn't pertain to sidewalks in the saldo. There's a section in 1349.15, sidewalks, pathways, and driveway aprons. Subsection A, sidewalks with curbs built to city specification shall be required along each side of all new, widened, or extended streets, and when proposing new development.
Yeah, so Attorney Deschler, that first section that actually Mr. Bull cites is from the old Saldo. And so in our agenda, we list that section and specifically call it out as old Saldo. And then we list the one you just stated and list that as current version of Saldo.
Which saldo? Sorry, was this filed before or after our change?
It was filed, I believe, afterward,
Okay.
but I don't know if Mr. Bull had the benefit of having our new Saldo at his fingertips, and he was just referencing the older version. And
No, I'm saying.
and so both are cited in the agenda. But in this scenario, we would want, if the Planning Commission members are amenable, for them to cite 1349.15, which is under the current version of Saldo.
And just that the note would change on their plan then.
Correct.
All right.
Anything else, Planning Commission? Ms. Cohen? Yes.
I have two additional comments. On the the southwest corner, it appears that there's a large grade change down to Route 412. And it
Yes.
appears that you're showing significant amount of landscaping to hide the loading dock area. Is that true?
Yes.
Thank you. And my other question is, on your rendering, you're showing 5 overhead doors, but you're only indicating 2 loading docks.
Correct.
Is it anticipated that any potential owner would only need 2 loading docks, or would that really be 5 loading docks there?
Well, we're actually going to install 4. We've been given, after doing our research, we've been given guidance that recommends we put in the 4 loading docks. And the 5th one is actually a drive-in dock, which is strongly recommended, where someone can drive into the facility from the loading dock area.
So potentially there could be 4 large trucks situated on that side
Yes.
of the building at some point.
At maximum, from doing our research, though, those 4 might be there on Monday, providing raw materials, and there might be another 2 on Thursday and Friday, taking out finished goods. With manufacturing, you don't see that tremendous turnover like you do in warehousing, but they are recommending that we put all 4 in for those days when you have those peaks.
You don't anticipate any additional ones besides those that are
No,
shown? Okay,
no.
thank you.
Anything else? Anyone here in attendance have any comments on Land Development Plan 1550 Spillman Drive? Seeing none, I am going to, we will do the sidewalk deferral separate. I think that's important. So we have that kind of, and then we'll act on it. So I will make a motion to allow sidewalk deferral at both 1550 Spillman along with the adjacent, was it 4th Street? And with the deferral being that if it is required or needed down the road, that the applicant will supply the city with the sidewalks. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second, Mr. Pongratz. Roll, please.
Mr. Pongratz,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Molosky,
Yes.
Mr. Malozzi.
Yes.
Yes, sidewalk deferral has been granted. I will entertain a motion at this time for land development plan. I said that, Spillman and 4th. Yes, it's all right, Mr. Yan. Trying to keep you awake. I mentioned both, Spillman and 4th. Entertain a motion for the land development plan. Mr. Malozzi.
I'll make a motion to approve the land development plan for 1550 Spillman Drive, contingent upon meeting all of the criteria outlined in the city's November 7th, 2025 letter, with the following notable exceptions. Is we understand from the city that the stormwater fee of $3,060 is not applicable due to the site's historic Act 2 nature of being considered 100% impervious. And also that comment number 2 in Public Works, that the city has agreed that all stormwater pipes may be PVC, if I understand that correctly.
HDPE.
HDPE. Stay on them? HDPE, okay. And I believe those are the only exceptions.
The loading docks.
What was in there?
There's 2 noted on the plan, but
Oh,
they're
okay.
showing 5 doors.
And that the commission recognizes and approves the construction of 4 loading dock doors for the facility as opposed to the 2 that are shown on the plan set that was reviewed.
Motion made, Mr. Malozzi. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Cohen. Roll, please.
Mr. Pongratz,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Malozzi,
Yes.
Mr. Molosky.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Romo. I'm going to hand this to you at this time. Best of luck moving forward. It's on the bottom there, Andy.
And Craig, that was HDPE.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last agenda item, land development plan at 128 East Fairview. Will the applicant please move forward? We'll give you a chance to get yourself squared away, and when you're ready, you may begin.
Good evening. Victor Scamilio here on behalf of the applicant 1015 Partners. The applicant is the equitable owner of 128 East Fairview Street and is here for his submission for a 3-story, 6-unit apartment building on the property. Couple of items that were to address in the letter of November, which is first in the stormwater engineering. And I believe there's been discussion between our engineer, who couldn't be here tonight due to a family conflict, and the city regarding the stormwater pipe being HDPE in lieu of concrete, because it will not be one where vehicular traffic would cross over. There is in the zoning, we can clarify in zoning 1B, there was a comment raised regarding the parking spaces. My client is proceeding with the 10 spots. There was a garbage, a dumpster in the one area. We will remove that to the south, I believe it is, so that it can accommodate the 10 spaces and be outside of that buffer zone for that abutting street. One question we did have regarding 1A in the zoning, there is a comment about the property abutting single-family homes. The property is bordered by 3 streets. I believe there is only 1 unit to the rear that is a single-family home. And is the request that that buffer be solely in front of that single-family home? I just need that.
Mr. Pfeiffer, if you want to comment on that.
Yes, so if the ordinance does specify that if it's adjacent to a single-family detached dwelling, that a buffer yard is required. And we do concur that the remaining dwellings that back up to this subject property are not single-family detached dwellings. Therefore, it would not be a requirement. In this scenario, the zoning officer is making more of the suggestion that this would be an ideal location for a buffer yard because we have multifamily dwellings going in next to single-family dwellings, albeit not detached.
So it is not required. It is a suggestion.
It would only be required. I mean, if we take a very strict interpretation of the ordinance, it would only be required adjacent to that single-family detached dwelling, which wouldn't make sense.
And I will say in the landscaping submission, we do have, I believe, a row of arborvitae and or evergreen down that road, down that property line anyway. I just wasn't sure of what the comment, and I appreciate the clarification from Mr. Pfeiffer.
And I assume that take your mouse, Mr. Pfeiffer, show the arborvitae there, right there, Mr. Villani.
Yes.
Is that correct? You can continue. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
With that, I'll turn it over to my client, see if there are any other issues or responses to the comments.
That were the only 2 that were that we had questions on. Most everything else we will comply with. The property is in the RT zone. We are very conservative on the density. The density on this tract yields 11.6 units. We have provided ample parking. And like I previously mentioned, the unit count is significantly less, so we're not shoehorning it in. We are providing, I believe, more than adequate buffering along the south of the property, which where the homes abut the property. And speaking with the engineering department, we were installing curbing both on Pine Street and on Dodge Street as well. We feel it's a good infill project. It's across from Liberty High School. And, we're excited to do it.
Mr. Villani, can you explain the main entrance and facing Fairview? That would be the main entrance for all tenants, and right there, the door, and that leads to.
Yes. The reason we position the building there is because for the apartments, we need ADA access. There is a slope to the lot. I don't recall what I believe it may be like 4 or 5 feet. I don't know. I don't recall the exact amount of slope from going Fairview east to west, but the entranceway, which will provide an ADA access, which will be in the parking lot. So somebody parks their car and there's a sidewalk in front of the building. They could go right in the building if they have a wheelchair or have any need any assistance. That's why we turn the building.
And also providing a sidewalk, Mr. Villani, from Fairview adjacent to the parking lot, angling up to the entrance as well. Is that correct?
The sidewalk, what we're planning on doing is we met the city engineer on site. We do in this plan show a sidewalk from a sidewalk or ramp, if you will,
Yes.
from the Fairview Street. However, in talking with the city engineer and talking with our engineer, what we may want to do is have all handicap access off of the parking lot area, and we might put steps at the closer to the Dodge Street in Fairview, which will be less stairs, but then we would make the sidewalk parallel to the parking lot, so somebody would come up the steps and walk to the sidewalk parallel to the front of the building.
Mr. Yandom, is that correct? Thank you. Mr. Pfeiffer, the memo seems pretty straightforward. November 3rd, you want to, anything to add from Mr. Scamilio or Mr. Milani's?
Add in some of the more key points. Under stormwater engineering, there's a requirement to install an additional catch basin in the parking lot. Under miscellaneous, the discussion on the ADA ramp, which Mr. Villani has already articulated. The traffic engineer has added some comments regarding where it would be appropriate to add stop signs and no parking signs. The city forester, as does the zoning officer, do refer to buffer yards and the desire of the city to see a variety of plantings in addition to just green arborvitae, green giants. The city's fire marshal makes a standard comment about fire department connections and their location. And of course, Mr. Villani is not new to this process. I'm sure he can work with Mr. Bear on that. The general comments, the one we always put in is about the vegetative ground cover. And then I was remiss in making these comments when we were reviewing 1550 Spillman, but in your packets are both letters from the Environmental Advisory Council and the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission. Environmental Advisory Council has their standard comments of energy efficient features, the potential for solar. They reference the CPACE program. If Mr. Villani and his partners were interested in doing a solar project, the landscaping for a variety of native species that promote pollinators, the sheltered bicycle parking, and the option for EV charging. And the LVPC just made comment about the need for housing and how this would help in assisting the housing crisis that we have here in the Lehigh Valley.
Did you mention earlier about the garbage area being relocated, Mr. Scamilio? Was that correct?
That's correct.
Can we pull that up just so everyone knows? Thank you.
So if you see,
Mr. Villani or Mr.
yeah, if you
Scamilio.
see here, the dumpster is located to the north of the parking lot along Dodge Street. It's going to be moved to the south.
Okay.
It'll be outside that buffer. The parking will remain, and we won't run into that buffering issue that was raised in 1B in the zoning.
And obviously fenced in, whether it's a vinyl type of
Yes.
material.
Correct.
Anything else, Mr. Pfeiffer?
I don't have anything else.
Any questions, comments for Mr. Villani or Mr. Scamilio from the Planning Commission? Mr. Pongratz.
Mr. Lani, how many, the unit mix in here, are they all two bedrooms, single bedrooms? What's the mix?
Yes, sir. There will be 4 2-bedroom units and 2 2-bedroom with den units.
Okay.
How we get the den units is there's a space above a stairwell, and in lieu of having a 3-story stairwell, we took advantage to put another living space there, and people use that as an office or den.
Am I right? How many units can you do?
It comes out to 11.6 units.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Ms. Cohen.
Do you have the elevation of the Fairview Street?
The front, right there.
So on the plan that there's a bump out on the north side of the building, that's the entrance?
No, the entrance is right
Right
here.
there.
So that's the view from Dodge Street.
Yes,
Do you have a view from Fairview Street?
yes, ma'am.
Isn't that from?
Yes, right there.
Thank you. And is that an entrance or an exit?
That is a sprinkler room.
Ah,
So we dressed it up to look like a,
glorious.
You like that, Ms. Cohen?
I'm wondering if it doesn't need to be quite as, stand out quite as much as it does here. It could be confusing to people, and there's no sidewalk that goes to that location, only the concrete pad.
we can make an attempt to tone it down a little bit. We do have, the reason we did that is just to give aesthetics to that facade on that side. It's easier in this building for fire. A lot of projects that we've done, the fire chief, when they come out, they want easy access to it. So, so if there ever is an incident there, they know exactly where the sprinkler room is, and it has to be labeled.
And it's labeled as there as well. I like it.
I do think it looks very nice. Maybe the roof could be shortened and
Sure,
the
sure,
columns could be removed
absolutely.
or
There's a few
made
things.
smaller.
Yeah, there's a
But
few.
in general, the elevation looks very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a, we could, there's a few things we could do by maybe just cantilevering the roof a little bit to shorten it and move the posts back, or put corbels type posts in that would
I think that
make
would be
it
nice.
not look so pronounced.
Thank you.
Thank
Noted.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Cohen. Anyone else?
Yes.
Mr. Malozzi,
Can we run through the elevation? So this is the elevation that will front Fairview
Fairview.
Street.
Yes.
So that's Liberty View.
Right.
And then what's the next? Can we scroll to the next one? That's the one that will face the parking lot.
Dodge,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Yep,
So,
parking
so
lot.
when you park, that's what you got there. That will face.
That will face, Mr. Mosey, that will face south,
Okay.
and there'll be arborvitae or trees in the back, closer to that,
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And then, all right, that's.
and that's
And then
that's,
there's the other side here. That'll face Pine, Mr. Milani,
yes,
Pine.
yep.
Thank you. And can we go back to the landscape plan and talk about what will be buffered along Fairview Street along the parking lot side? Is it trees there?
Yes.
Okay. Have those been designated? Like what sort of trees?
Unfortunately, my engineer was not able to be here tonight. I think everything was submitted to the city. There was whatever
Yeah.
count that was there, he adhered to.
I know it's on the plan, but I couldn't read it.
Everything that Mr. Pfeiffer
Yeah.
mentioned in the memo and what we're showing now, you're in compliance with, Mr. Milani.
Right. We just recently did a project on Easton Avenue where we actually implemented a split rail fence. It was not our intention to do it on this project, but after that, how that really dresses the property, we may probably put a fence similar to that.
That's the
on-
project you did down by the Giant.
Right.
So, yeah,
So you could see how it just it defines it. So we felt, my brother and I felt that doing something like that on this project will dress it up as well.
Mr. Malozzi, reading from the engineer's notes regarding the forestry, the engineer notes to us that the additional plantings have been provided as requested by the forestry department.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then just to clarify, so the ADA ramp structure that appears on the plan that discussion with the city, that's going away, correct?
It may be too confusing. We felt that what we would do is have the ADA parking as you see up front in the parking lot where someone can get out and go on the sidewalk and go right in front of the building there for that. We felt that we would put steps up to that proposed walkway and scoot that walkway, just make it parallel with the parking lot so people can get up there.
Will there be sidewalk connection from East Fairview into the parking lot then, anywhere?
It'll be from steps, not sidewalk.
Okay. Mr. Pfeiffer, can you please point that out on the plan that we're looking at? Or-
I discussed it. So this was supposed to be a ramp.
Yep.
Right? With the elevation, even if they do it as a ramp, they may not meet ADA standards.
Mhm.
So the discussion was if they can put like few steps up here and then have a sidewalk run parallel along the parking lot.
Okay.
And that way all ADA, all handicap accessibility will be through the parking lot. Since they already have a spot here and the parking lot is ADA accessible.
Mhm. Okay, so there'll still be sidewalk connection. It's just
Yes.
steps,
Yes.
sidewalk, parallel. It's not going to be a ramp.
Yes.
It's got, that's not going to be the ADA access.
Yeah,
It'll be-
just because around here, the slope is too high to meet ADA requirement.
Got it. Okay.
Is there a reason why we wouldn't put the sidewalk in line with the proposed sidewalk that runs parallel to the building, the front of the building? So that you would literally just walk from the front of the building
Over here.
right out, just a little bit over to the right? A little bit more?
Alongside?
Like right there.
The slope
That's
is-
not the entranceway. The entranceway is facing the parking lot.
but the slope is too steep here. They will need like maybe 8-9 steps
Hmm.
to get up. So this way they will only need like maybe 3-4 steps here with the sidewalk,
But
and it will be like also access.
Is that your preferred method, Mr. Villani?
after visiting on site, yes, but to answer your question, that sidewalk that will be parallel there will connect to the sidewalk that's in front of the building, if that's what you were asking.
Understood, yep.
Yes.
I'm wondering along those lines, because that sidewalk and that connection there, that's not going to be the ADA entrance. So to Mr. Pfeiffer's question is, could you just do steps from the sidewalk right there, and then that brings you to the front of the building? I don't know, that saves you a whole run of concrete then.
The reason we chose to do it closer to Dodge Street is because, as Basil said, it will be less steps. It may be 3 or 4 steps versus 8 or 9 steps.
Mhm.
So we felt it would be less steps and put a sidewalk. Plus, I think the sidewalk helps. Somebody parks, they can walk on this, get out of their car, walk. And especially in wintertime, they can, with snow, sometimes when it snows between cars, they can get out of their car and walk on the sidewalk to the main walkway in front of the building.
Okay, just thought it might be consideration to just eliminate that sidewalk, because I think generally people can walk in the parking lot, but it'd be nice to have a connection straight to the sidewalk closer to that leads you to the front door of the
Yeah.
of the building, since it doesn't have to be ADA.
I think that's something that could be implemented in the field once we get the grade of the building and grade of the parking lot. And if we can move it a little bit, that we don't have a significant amount of steps, we may choose to do that. however, it's been myself and my brother's experience to just try to stay away from something that looks like a structure with tiers of steps. So that's why we, like I said, we chose to push it closer to Dodge Street.
Okay. It just forces anyone walking to go all the way down there to enter the front. So they have to go all the way down to Dodge, come back across the parking lot to get to the front door of your building. I'm thinking along like Union Boulevard, West Broad, the avenues, like a lot of those houses, they probably have more than 8 or 9 steps that go up to them just because the grade. I think it would be more pedestrian friendly to have a direct access there. That's just my opinion. I guess if the city was okay with it.
Either or works for me. I didn't have a preference. Whatever you guys see,
A lot less
like to see
concrete.
more, I'm okay with it.
I see Mr. Malani's comments as it pertains to weather. I mean, that's something when snow comes and they're pulling in, they want a sidewalk to access if they're parked on the
Plus,
back side of the lot.
it's closer to the intersection as well. So if somebody's walking down the sidewalk and wants to come, they can just come up and do that. But we appreciate your feedback, and we will, we could look at that.
Mr. Malozzi, would you want to see both options? The sidewalk along the parking lot and the stairway to heaven?
Building's nice, but I wouldn't. No, I'm not interested in that. I just think it's across the street. Does Grenadier Boulevard run like right out in front of the house there? Are we offset from that, or
I think
Grenadier's more down
further?
Down that way, right?
Yeah.
No, it's right there.
It's right there. Yep, you're right there. It's right, buddy.
So I'm just thinking, it's the high school. If you have anybody who actually lives there that's attending Liberty or something like that, walking down either Grenadier or otherwise, I'm thinking more in terms of the pedestrian access to the front door, and not for the 10 people who park their cars there. We're going to get out and walk through the parking lot. They're not going to get out of their car and walk up to the sidewalk, over and back down. I just don't see that happening. They're going to, because it's going to be salted and plowed, right? It's going to, your parking lot's going to be clear. So yeah, I would be interested in that. Not trying to make it difficult. Actually, it's going to reduce a whole run of concrete, and maybe it's 9 steps instead of 3 or 4 steps, but it's the pedestrian access, and it is then your residents may actually walk. That's what I'm saying. It's like they may actually walk out of here and go down to Lumps Deli, or go to watch a football game on a Friday. So just coming out of their door and connecting down steps to the parking lot, I think would be more desirable.
Is it Lumps anymore?
No, not since I bought my winning lottery ticket there. It's changed. Eli's. Yeah. But no, to be serious, that's what I'm thinking of. Is if I live there, I want to come out the door, take a direct route down to the sidewalk, and then be on my way. It's a very busy pedestrian kind of area because that Liberty High School city block is activated like 365 days a year, I think.
Okay.
And is there anything I'm missing other than that? It was
No,
a desire
no,
to keep
no,
the steps,
no.
or
No, we were just trying to. I was in a concrete business most of my life, and what you try to avoid is, as we get older in life, trying to avoid steps. So we just felt it would be less strenuous going up 3 steps rather than 8 or 9. So we're more than happy to visit that again, and maybe even move it closer, or if it's something you're insisting on. We just tried to avoid having something where you have this big set of steps going up. That's all.
Mr. Yannon, we trust you, me and the engineer will continue to have dialogue with Mr. Malani on this topic.
I appreciate the consideration.
Thank you.
Hold on. I don't care what it is. I just care that we're clear about this. So we can't just have a continuing dialogue on the steps. We're approving a plan.
Good point.
Okay. Again,
Be more specific, Counselor. How do you want us to act
I
on
want
that?
to know whether
Be more
he wants to
specific.
know whether I'm asking. to
It's
require
it's
it.
easy to say, hey, we're not, Counselor, tell us what
Well,
we should be saying.
there's a plan in front of you. Apparently, it complies with the saldo, at least certainly in respect to where the current sidewalk is placed or the stairs are placed. So it's not a basis to deny the plan. If the developer of its own accord wants to alter the plan in some way, we have to pick a choice. That's all I'm saying. I mean, so whatever you want to do, just
Council, what if we, if I may, and I don't want to be too bold, that approve as is, if field conditions reveal the ability to do the shorter run and more direct route, that applicant and engineer discuss and revise plan to that effect.
right. It's up to Mr. Villani, basically, right? Okay. I mean, that's
If I
We-
may comment, we already can approve the plan as is because they've already indicated that the ramp is now going to be a couple stairs and a sidewalk. And the location of the stairs is what we're discussing. So the applicant is going to have to work with the city engineering department to revise the plan to show the straight sidewalk with some stairs, and could work with the applicant to determine the actual location of those stairs since they're already revising the plan.
if the applicant agrees to things, they're enforceable. It's just in this situation, if Mr. Villani wants to keep the stairs where they are, he gets to keep the stairs where they are. I guess I don't like a situation where it's just if it's totally advisory and voluntary and he's willing to move the stairs, if things work out, great. But the plan you're approving tonight is basically the stairs where they're located. And yeah, there can be a condition like in the course of the construction, if it's feasible to move the stairs, he'll look into moving the stairs, but it's not binding on him. So just so we understand.
Yeah, I would not support the applicant. I would not support making him do the steps like Mr. Malozzi had requested from Fairview. I wouldn't support that. If this was a sketch plan review, sure, we're giving them feedback, but the plan that's in front of us now, and believe me, I see Mr. Malozzi's point, but so if Counselor, you feel that Mr. Scamilio's request is fine, is something that we can add that. I have no problem with that, but
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not gonna.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Essentially, as the construction goes on, if the city and Mr. Villani come to an agreement that they can move the steps to everyone's satisfaction, great. As long as we're clear that when we approve the plan tonight, the steps can be where they are now, even if, let's say, the city would like them moved in the future.
But just so we're on the same page, the city never recommended them to put those steps there. They were fine with where Mr. Villani had them located on the plan. That's right.
And we can work with them on whatever works best in the field.
Very good. So
Right.
We're okay with this right now.
Because that plan has no steps on it currently.
well, the step says he's agreed to put them tonight. Well, aren't they there?
You said 3 or 4, Mr. Villani, from,
That's an ADA ramp.
But they're going to be the steps there instead, right?
Right, but you talked about we're approving a plan. That plan has no steps on it.
I'm just saying, we're approving, we're binding him to things that he's agreeing to. But unless he's willing to agree to these things, we can't bind him to them. So he's agreeing to, we're modifying the plan. It's not a ramp, they're steps. That's fine, right? No saldo issues with that. And all I'm saying is that that's what we're voting on because there's no basis to deny the plan. If in the course of construction, based on this approved plan, Mr. Villani says, well, you know what, I'm okay with moving the steps to the left, essentially. And then if that works out with the city and Basil's good with it, then they can agree to it.
And what's been agreed to with the city is to have a flight of stairs instead of the ADA ramp to a run of sidewalk that is parallel to the, adjacent to the parking lot and parallel to Fairview Street, right? Is that was what was discussed in the city. So you come up a short flight of stairs and then walk across sidewalk fronting the parking lot and then left onto the sidewalk in front of the building.
That slope at that corner is very up. So it could go like 1 or 2 steps. If you go to City Street, you can see the difference. It's very low. Like you can have 1 steps and then flat ramp that takes you to the sidewalk.
What's it look like down the street?
Go down. Got it. A little bit more. Yeah. This is the drop. Like you want to think about where the tree is where we're talking about having the other step kind of.
Right.
This is the difference.
Where the tree is on the left side of
This tree right
middle of
here.
the lot, basically.
Yeah, this one. You have maybe like 4 to 5 feet drop. This is before putting the building up and everything else.
Right.
It might be a little higher. That's why avoiding the discussion that it was before, it's avoiding having like a block in that area in front of the building.
What's it look like to the left towards Center Street, or to the right rather towards Center Street? Nothing along that side.
Nothing along that side.
There's something.
It slopes down all the way. And it may, yeah. This is a little different, but just an example.
Yeah.
The plan that is in front of us is, as you mentioned, just to repeat it again, Mr. Yandam, is compliant with ADA. I mean, well, Counselor, if you want to help with the way we word this motion, listen, Mr. Malani has been in front of us numerous times. His projects are great infill projects that do an outstanding job getting built. Like nothing's slow in the process. He mentioned earlier tonight the Easton Ave project, a great project. City Line Ball Field is over there. I'm there all the time with our boys who play baseball. Numerous neighbors have commended what and how he approached that project. Mentioned the fence as well as something that so I trust what he's planning on doing here. And I also know that if he feels the steps can be done, he will do them, but I'm not going to hold him to that. So as it pertains to the plan in front of us, are we adding the words that you had mentioned that Mr. Scamilio mentioned?
Yeah, that's fine with me. So as I understand it, the comment regarding the ADA ramp, essentially that's modified to that there'll be a set of steps in that location. And you can further condition this that, if during construction, Mr. Vellani and the city come to an agreement to move the steps to some other location, that can be done.
I have a question.
Yep, Mr. Maloney.
Mr. Vellani, would you consider putting in 2 flights of steps, one in the front and one where it's proposed to replace the ADA ramp?
Yeah, Mr. Malozzi, I'm just looking at the plan here. It might be an 8-foot rise. That's what I was trying to avoid. So 8 feet, it's, substantial. So I was trying to avoid that.
8 feet because of the
In that
foundation.
area, I'm just looking at the grading while you were talking, and that's why we moved it. So you don't have this massive set of steps. I think it might be a little unsightly or kind of institutional, because the building on that end is going to be 5 feet higher on that corner. So that's why we were I mean, the building slab is at 330.57, and I'm looking here, you're at like 322.
323.
This is here, this
Yeah.
is the 23 kind of
So it'll be 7 feet.
So,
building.
we're very amenable, but I think the aesthetics as well and the just feasibility, that's why we chose to do that. If that would be an issue, we would, just humbly ask if we can ask for the approval for the plan the way it is. And then we're more than happy, again, not to get any legal theatrics, just, we would work on site, and then whatever would be worked out, we would amend it, and it would be documented in the as-built plan at the end of the construction.
What's a stair rise, like 8 inches or something like that?
I think you're allowable 8 inches, but it's kind of steep. Usually we do like 7 and 11.
All right, so be like 11 or 12 steps.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate the consideration.
Oh,
It's
thank
not
you.
something that I'm willing,
No.
that I feel compelled to make a condition to suggest as a condition of approval.
So,
Thank you.
So there's two processes. Process number one is he'll do a regular plan once we approve the final. Two is he'll do an as-built plan. It also gets recorded.
They're just going to not match up.
And that's when, sorry, since we're having this conversation. So Attorney Deschler asked about the submission process.
Forget it.
Let's not spin our wheels here, gang. Let's not split atoms. All right. I think your comment, Mr. Attorney Deschler, was spot on. We cannot just.
That's fine.
fake this.
Yes,
I get that.
I got it.
And we all are busy, and the clock's not going to move more by you staring at it. So, all right, we've been here.
I know.
We're
I
gonna
can,
get
I
this
know. I
right.
can make it move quick.
And I'm pretty sure you're compensated for your time. I am not. So I will entertain a motion with Attorney Deschler's type of comments that was needed.
I am not either. Just to be
Okay.
clear.
Well, you are in a way. I'll entertain a motion before this gets little.
I think it's already there. I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve the land development plan at 128 East Fairview Street contingent upon the applicant satisfying the conditions outlined in the November 3rd, 2025 letter from the city of Bethlehem with the following notable changes under stormwater engineering. Number one, the material is allowed to be HDPE for the stormwater system. Under miscellaneous engineering, number two, the ADA ramp as shown on the plan will not be constructed. Instead, ADA access will be accommodated through the parking lot directly, and the ramp area will be constructed as steps leading to a sidewalk run along the frontage of the parking lot parallel to Fairview Street. In zoning, number 1A, the buffer yard is not a requirement. It is more of a suggestion. So I understand, is that correct from the city?
Correct.
Okay, that is not a requirement. And 1B will be addressed by relocating the trash enclosure south of the driveway to preserve the buffer. Did I miss anything, Ms. Cohen? That's my motions.
Second, roll please.
Mr. Pongratz,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Malozzi,
Yes.
Mr. Malosky.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your time. Best of luck moving forward. Mr. Pfeiffer, any general discussion items or upcoming agenda items to point out?
Yes. So at the end of your packet, it's the summary of upcoming Planning Commission agenda items. I would note that the sketch plan for 906 Evans is one that I've yet to contact the applicant. They're most likely going to withdraw that. It's been languishing for a little while, but they did not get favorable responses from the city from our first review with that plan, and I don't believe they can make it economically feasible without significant amount of relief. So that one will most likely be coming off. 4652 West Broad Street. This is the former bank building, Wells Fargo. That will potentially be on your December 11th agenda. That depends on the applicant's desire to either go before you in December or January. That's something that they've been contemplating and going back and forth with the Department of Community and Economic Development. The third one on there is 6268 West Union Boulevard. That will most likely be on your December agenda. I'd note that both Broad Street and Union indicate the deadline or an expiration of the MPC requirements on the 10th. Both of those cases have been extended in writing to the 11th. The one that it did not make it on here, and unfortunately our admin assistant's been unfortunately out of the office for the past couple days, is the Lehigh University Drive residences. There's a proposal to build some new dorms up there, and that has come into us as a sketch plan, so that will most likely be on your December agenda.
And what about East 4th Street? That might come back?
That has been requested to be moved to the December agenda, so that is correct.
That'll be on December.
Yeah, so potentially we have 4 projects coming your way in December.
Anything else?
That's everything.
Sir.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. See you next month.
Matt, is it true you're not getting paid to be here?